Today I'm going to be riding something new. Instead of my blue Yamaha MT-07, I'm going to be trying something a little more red. This is a Ducati Hypermotard 939. It's actually a 2018 model, which was the last year that they made these, and they replaced the next year with a 950. So this is a supermotard design. If you're new to motorcycling, what that means is it's basically a dirt bike with tires and wheels from a sport bike. This design type emerged from a race series, a supermotard race series, where the motorcycles were ridden both on tarmac and on dirt, and they attracted racers from both off-road and on-road spheres. They tend to be a little bit more sporting or aggressive in their orientation. They handle very well as sport bikes on the road, but they do it in a different way from your standard sport bike design. As I said before, this is a 2018 model. They were made from 2016 to 2018, and they've been replaced by the 950. I think I'll start by telling you about the electronics on this bike. It comes with ABS, Ducati traction control, riding modes in sport, touring and urban. It has a ride-by-wire throttle system and an anti-theft system built in. It has heated grips, satellite navigation, and MARELLI indirect electronic fuel injection. It's all a little bit more premium than I'm used to on my Yamaha MT-07. The engine is a liquid-cooled 4-stroke design. It is an V-twin, or what Ducati likes to call an L-twin, twin cylinder. It has a 936cc displacement, has belt-driven Desmodromic valves, double overhead cams, 4 valves per cylinder. It has a wet clutch. I think the other Ducatis I rode had dry clutches. A slipper mechanism. It's a 6-speed transmission. The engine produces 113 horsepower at 9,000 RPM, and it produces 97.9 Newton meters of torque at 7,500 RPM. For old people like me, that's about 72 foot-pounds, or 72 pounds-foot of torque. Moving on, let's talk about the chassis. It has a steel tube trellis frame. It's a die-cast aluminium rear subframe. Front suspension is a 43mm inverted telescopic fork. It has 170mm or 6.7 inches of travel. Just a note on that, there is an SP version of this bike which has 48mm inverted telescopic fork. I'm going to have to make a slight detour. Just noticed that the starter button has dropped off. So I will have to go back and get it, as this is not my bike. I should probably have talked a little bit about the switchgear before I started out on this journey, but no worries. Every time I ride Ducatis, I notice that the switchgear layout is not quite the same as what I'm used to on a very long line of Yamahas that I've owned. Anyway, I've never had a starter button pop off before. But I think it happened right up here because I saw it was there before I got up to that corner. So I think it dropped off somewhere up here by the stop sign and the stoplight. hunting we will go, a-hunting we will go. Hi-ho, Amerigo, a-hunting we will go. Do you see it? Where could it be? There's a truck coming. I'd better find it before that gets here. Aha. Okay, I think it was the turn signal switch. Try and get it back in here. Gorgeous bike, but this does not particularly make me feel very confident that it will not happen again. I would be definitely anxious were I to buy one of these. Anyway, back on our journey. I have to try and remember where I left off. Yes, I was talking about the suspension. I told you about the front suspension, 43mm inverted telescopic fork, and that the SP version has a 48mm Öhlins front fork, which is fully adjustable, which I believe this one is not. The rear suspension is a monoshock from Sachs. It's adjustable for spring preload and rebound damping, and it's 150mm or 5.9 inches of travel. Front tire is a 120/70 ZR17, and rear is a 180/55 ZR17, so 17-inch wheels front and rear, as I noted before. It looks like a dirt bike, but sport bike wheels and brakes, and the suspension will be set up for more for on-road. Front brake is a double disc, 320mm, 4-piston radial calipers, Brembo monoblock. Change of plans. I'm not going to go on the highway. I'd hope to, but there's just too much traffic, so I'll ride around in this residential area. But let's have a quick look at the bike first. Start by going back to what I was telling you about the brakes. I told you about the front brake. Let's tell you about the rear brake. The rear brake is a single disc, 245mm with a 2-piston caliper, and that also has ABS. This bike has a fuel capacity of 16 liters, or 4.22 gallons, US gallons. They mentioned that fork was an upside down fork. Well, it is. I like the turn signals in the hand protectors, the little guards. So love that gorgeous trellis frame. For me, that's signature of a Ducati. You know, in their sport bikes now, they're going with monocoque designs. Love to replace that exhaust. I'm assuming there's a catalytic converter in the end can there, which is absolutely huge. It's got a great sound, but imagine how much better it would sound without that. Notice a single-sided swing arm at the rear. Beautiful spoked wheels. Gorgeous shade of red. I'm not really a fan of the aesthetics of Supermotard bikes, because I'm not really a fan of the aesthetics of dirt bikes, quite frankly. You know, I've never really thought that aesthetics or styling was particularly important for dirt bikes. Form follows function. Their appearance is very much based on what they're designed for, and that to me carries over to supermotards to an unnecessary extent. However, I do think these Ducati Hypermotards are actually quite beautiful. I've actually given more thought to the styling than most of their competitors do. If you look, for example, at the supermotards from KTM, they are, please don't burn me for this, KTM fans, but they're ugly. I like KTMs, but I've never seen one I like the look of. I'm not too happy with the styling on my Yamaha either, for that matter. The overall length of this bike is 2,120 millimeters, or 83.5 inches. Overall width is 35.2 inches. The overall height is 1,155 millimeters, or 45.5 inches. Seat height is 870 millimeters, or 34.2 inches, which is almost 3 inches higher than my MT-07. You feel very high sitting on this bike. You can actually look over a lot of the traffic. Big SUVs and pickup trucks are still somewhat problematic, but I just feel like you have a much better field of vision. Dry weight is 399 pounds, or 181 kilograms. The wet weight or curb weight is 450 pounds, or 204 kilograms. So that is 47 pounds heavier than my MT-07. But you don't really feel it because of the high, wide handlebar, I think. Acceleration 0 to 60 miles per hour, or 100 kilometers per hour, is 3.2 seconds. Top speed 235 kilometers per hour, or 146 miles per hour. You can really feel it's driving up this hill. Fuel mileage, again, this bike has a 60-liter tank, which is 2 liters larger than what I have on my MT-07. However, the mileage is a little bit less. You get 5.2 liters for 100 kilometers, or 45 miles per gallon, compared to 4.3 liters on my MT-07 per 100 kilometers per hour, or 54.7 miles per gallon. We are coming to the end of this video, so I'll give you my final thoughts. I absolutely love this bike. I'm going to buy it. It hasn't quite sold me on my reservations about supermotards. I think it's a very good bike for commuting because of that excellent field of vision, the fact that we are so high. It's fairly maneuverable and nimble. It's not really capable enough to do off-road on. It's twice the price of my MT-07. I think I would probably steer more towards a Ducati Monster if I decided to buy a Ducati, or maybe the Super Sport. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully we'll see you back again.